The best AI for students in 2026 is not the one every creator is recommending. And some of those tools are now actively failing you. A school in Texas is charging families up to $65,000 a year for an AI-powered education. Internal records showed it was generating faulty lesson plans and scraping unverified content from cheap online courses. Welcome to TechWise, where we cut through the noise and test what AI actually does for your academic performance. Subscribe if you want honest, practical AI breakdowns you can use today. Here is the problem no one in this space is talking about. The same tools you keep seeing in Best AI for Students videos have quietly degraded. NotebookLM, widely praised as the gold standard for academic research, underwent a forced migration to Gemini 3.1 Pro in late 2025. What followed was a two-stage collapse. First, outputs became shorter, formatting broke down, and the model started drifting away from the source material. Then, on February 19, 2026, the core feature broke entirely. Source grounding, the one thing that made NotebookLM worth using, stopped working reliably. Students reported that the system would completely ignore uploaded documents that were actively loaded and visible in the project sidebar. When the retrieval process fails, the model does not admit it. Instead, it fabricates plausible-sounding explanations drawn from its pre-training data. That is not a study tool. That is a hallucination engine dressed up in a clean interface. And it gets worse. The model's ability to follow sequential logical reasoning is now frequently capped at just 2 steps, deliberately throttled to reduce processing costs. For a tool used to analyze complex academic PDFs, that is a fundamental failure. But here is where things get interesting. The vulnerability in these systems points directly to the strategy that actually works in 2026. And it starts with how you access AI in the first place. The single biggest upgrade most students can make right now is moving away from single model tools and into a multi-model workspace. A platform like Gamma gives you simultaneous access to Claude, Perplexity, and ChatGPT from one interface. The logic is simple. Claude handles long-form analysis, code, and nuanced writing. Perplexity retrieves current cited web sources with precision. ChatGPT explains foundational concepts with clarity. No single model dominates all three. This multi-model approach also solves the NotebookLM regression problem directly. When one model fails a retrieval task, you route the same question to a model with a stronger context window. You are no longer dependent on a single point of failure. The exact workflow I use to set this up, including how to structure your queries across models for different task types, is in the description below. Copy it and test it yourself. But this is only half the story. Because while broken tools are one crisis, there is a second, more personal one building quietly in the background, and it threatens your academic record directly. Academic integrity systems at universities across the world are now flagging original, human-authored work as AI-generated. Detection tools are miscalibrated. Standard academic writing patterns, formal sentence structure, consistent tone, precise vocabulary, are triggering false positives at scale. This is not a fringe issue. This is happening to high-performing students who have never used AI to write a single sentence of their essays. The solution is not to change how you write. The solution is to build an audit trail that proves you wrote it. GPT-0's Chrome extension does exactly this. It records your document's real-time editing history, every keystroke, every revision, every structural decision, and exports that history as a tamper-proof PDF. That document is your evidence. It shows a grader or an academic board that your essay evolved through a genuine, iterative human writing process rather than appearing fully formed in a single-generation event. GPT-0's free tier scans up to 10,000 words per month, which is more than enough for most course loads. Installing the Chrome extension takes under 2 minutes, and it works passively in the background while you write. Now let's take this one step further. Because protecting your work from false accusations is only the defensive layer of your academic strategy. The offensive layer, the one that actually separates high-performing students from the rest, is about how you learn, not just what you produce. The most common mistake students make with AI is using it to get answers. High-achieving students use it to generate questions. That distinction changes everything. When a general chatbot gives you a finished solution, it short-circuits the cognitive process that actually builds long-term memory. You read the answer, you feel like you understood it, and 48 hours later, it is completely gone. The effort of retrieval is what creates retention, and skipping that effort destroys learning outcomes. The correct configuration is a Socratic coaching model. Instead of asking a tool to solve a problem, you ask it to identify the gaps in your reasoning and push back with guiding questions. YouLearn is the most purpose-built platform for this workflow in 2026. You upload your lecture notes, textbook chapters, or PDFs, and the system automatically generates active recall flashcards, custom quiz sets, and an interactive study tutor calibrated to your specific material. The free tier allows 3 uploads per day, 5 chats, and 35 quiz questions. For most course loads, that is workable. Heavy users will want the pro tier at $20 per month. I will drop the exact Socratic coaching prompt I use with YouLearn in the description. It restructures the model's response behavior entirely so it stops giving you answers and starts making you think. And this is where it completely changed everything for how I approach research. Because there is one more category of student AI that almost no one outside of graduate-level academia is talking about, and it is completely free. When you need to cite peer-reviewed research, a general search engine and a standard chatbot are both fundamentally unreliable. General search retrieves SEO-optimized content, not validated science. Chatbots hallucinate citations that do not exist. Consensus solves this problem at the source. It is a search engine built exclusively on a database of over 200 million peer-reviewed academic papers. Every answer it generates is synthesized directly from verified published research. The feature that makes Consensus genuinely powerful is the consensus meter. When you search a scientific question, the consensus meter shows you the percentage of published studies that support, oppose, or remain neutral on that claim. You are not reading one paper in isolation. You are seeing the aggregate direction of the entire field. For science, health, social sciences, and any research-heavy major, this tool eliminates hours of manual literature review. The free tier gives you 15 pro searches per month, which is enough for targeted research bursts. The student plan drops to $5.39 per month, billed annually. Now, before we talk about how to assemble all of this into a coherent, low-cost study stack, there is one more tool that non-native English writers and thesis students cannot afford to overlook. Paperpal, developed by Cactus Global, operates as a real-time academic grammar editor embedded directly into your writing environment. But it goes significantly further than a standard grammar checker. It runs citation verification against live databases, checks your manuscript against the specific formatting requirements of target academic journals, and flags language patterns that fall outside the conventions of your discipline. The free tier limits you to 5 daily actions and 7,000 words of plagiarism checking per month. The annual Prime plan brings that down to $139 per year, less than $12 per month, which is a strong value proposition for graduate students submitting to journals. The important caveat: Paperpal cannot evaluate your science. It does not assess whether your methodology is sound, your hypothesis is novel, or your study design is feasible. It refines language precision. The intellectual validity of your argument remains your responsibility. For mathematics and engineering students, a completely separate tool dominates. TechWise.ai handles advanced mathematics step by step, supports LaTeX inputs and handwritten equation drawing directly on screen, and generates interactive visual graphs. If your coursework is quantitative, This is the most direct performance multiplier available. This is not the future anymore. This is already the operating standard for students who are outperforming their peers in 2026. Here is the study stack that emerges from all of this. A multi-model workspace like Glama for daily AI access. Free to start. YouLearn for active recall learning and Socratic coaching. Consensus for peer-reviewed literature research on the student plan at $5.39 per month. Paperpal or Writefull for academic writing precision, both under $12 per month on annual plans. GPT-0's Chrome extension running passively to build your audit trail at no cost. The total cost of a defensively designed, research-grade AI study stack in 2026 is under $20 per month. That is less than a single textbook. And it outperforms any single $65,000 AI school by every measurable outcome. The tools that are quietly failing you are not going to announce it. Verify everything, diversify your stack, and never build a critical academic workflow on a single model. If you want the complete breakdown of every tool, pricing tier, and the exact prompts I use for each workflow, they are all in the description below. Watch the next video to see how to configure Claude specifically as a research assistant for long-form academic writing. That one will change how you work.